Arizona Wildlife Views, brought to you by the sale of hunting and fishing licenses and the Heritage Fund, lottery dollars working for wildlife. Some projects made possible by the Sportfish and Wildlife Restoration Fund.
Find birds. Let's go.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Wildlife Views. I'm your host, Jim Harkin. On our show tonight, we take you up to the White Mountains and show you a great place to do some wildlife watching. Later, we'll introduce you to a dog that is as at home in the field as he is in the show ring. But first, we'll show you what some folks in Arizona are doing to improve habitat for wildlife. There is a beautiful section of the Sonoran Desert that lies between Wickenburg and Tonopah, surrounded by mountains and filled with gorgeous scenery. Unfortunately, some of it is also filled with a lot of garbage.
The Bureau of Land Management was able to find the funding for the dumpsters, the porta potties, and a lot of the help, including some maps they printed up of some known trash sites around here. So when I'm done, if you guys want to take a look at these maps and just head out to some of these trash areas we got, the only thing I'd ask is if you're going out to a trash site to clean it up, just mark it off the map so somebody doesn't go after you and try to clean up the same trash site.
Sadly, there are plenty of sites out here that need to be cleaned up. So Craig Heath, the wildlife manager for this unit, Unit 42, organized an effort to clean it up.
What we're doing out here today is a cleanup, just a unit-wide cleanup that I came up with probably about a year ago, the idea for it. And mainly it was based on the fact that there was a lot of large trash sites out here, a lot of illegal tire dumping, and I've been seeing it over, a couple years get worse and worse, and finally got together with the Bureau of Land Management to pay for some dumpsters and, get all the volunteers together out here to come out and clean up the sites that we know of, and hopefully a lot of the ones that we didn't know of.
Craig put out the word, and nearly 100 volunteers showed up, even on a blustery February day, to help clean up these large rogue dump sites. All this trash is not only unsightly, but can be harmful to wildlife as well as a fire hazard.
Most of the volunteers are people that came out local. There is some that came out from quite a distance away, but there's a group of students from the Natterberg school. There's 3 different Boy Scout troops that came out here to help us, and there's a few hunters and local people that I know that are from Wickenburg and Tonopah that got the news release and came out here to help us.
It's pretty sad that we have to pick up after somebody else. I mean, I know when we go hunting, we always try and pick up our own brass or our own shells, and being Boy Scouts, we leave no trace. It's sad. I'm the committee chair for Boy Scout Troop 194, and the boys are looking for service hours for rank advancement, and I get your emails every month. Most of us are avid hunters, so this is one of the areas that we hunt, and we decided we're going to help clean it up.
So what kind of trash are the Boy Scouts finding?
No, there's like pills. Remember the pills?
Oh no, underwear.
Oh,
underwear.
Dirty diaper.
I know, it was all squishy.
A filled diaper.
Oh yeah, there's underwear with like tuna cans stuck to it.
2 heads.
Where he filled
Look at that,
like
see?
4 boxes.
It's growing on the jacket.
It's alive. Oh, man,
The Wickenburg Road right here on up into Aguila has been kind of a popular drop site for some of the undocumented alien traffic that comes through here. And 2 years ago I had the chain gang out here cleaning up a site, and we picked up a semi-tractor trailer dumpster size filled with trash in a couple days. And one of the sites we cleaned up today was another one of those old undocumented alien sites.
Trash left behind by undocumented workers is a growing problem, not only for open land along the border, but for areas like this, which have become part of the migration route.
Basically what they do is once they get into Phoenix or some of the towns in here, they have those drop houses that people stay at. When someone picks them up from a drop house, they pick up all the garbage and the people, take them out to a secondary site, like out in here in these desert spots. They'll dump the people off and all the trash and tell the people that someone will be by to pick them up. And a lot of times they don't know when they're going to come. 2 years ago when we had the chain gang out here, we ran into a group of 50 to 80 aliens while we were picking up trash, and I interviewed a couple of them, and they said they'd been out there for 10 days without food or water, didn't know where they were. So they'll just basically stay out here in the desert living underneath the trees until someone comes to pick them up. So it's pretty harsh conditions for them.
This part of the Hassayampa Valley is an ideal location for all kinds of outdoor recreation, including camping, which is something these Boy Scouts don't want to lose.
Because if we don't, then they're going to close off the land and we won't be able to camp here anymore.
What we're doing is we talked about taking care of the environment, being good stewards of the environment, and so we thought this was a good way to put that into practice. Well, for one, when we talk about leave no trace, that was a lot of stuff we were talking about, and they can see the effects of leaving a trace, you know, as it builds up over time. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this.
Items discarded by undocumented workers aren't the only trash piling up out here. Many people use this area as if it were their own personal landfill. As the wildlife manager for this unit, Craig doesn't think very highly of those who treat this area like a dump site.
I take it real personal, and you know, I've caught a few people dumping out here in the past, and usually through the courts we can get part of the restitution is for them to come out and clean up their trash site and hopefully a little bit more. But a lot of people come out here and they'll dump garbage and they don't get caught. Part of the message I want to try to get across to the folks out here and around the state is the fact that if you see somebody out in the desert with a load of trash in the back of their truck or a bunch of used tires in a trailer, it's probably a good idea that they're not taking it to the landfill if they're heading out into the desert. So if they see stuff like that, they should contact the Sheriff's Department or Game and Fish and report it so we can maybe catch the people doing it.
While the volunteers continued their cleanup in the dense undergrowth, not everything they found was trash.
What?
This tarantula was in the wrong place at the wrong time for one young girl, but it was quickly moved out of harm's way. Back at base camp, Craig organized this event so that the youngsters would have some fun activities waiting for them after they finished their stint picking up trash.
Okay, first two, come on up. Hand them the glasses, here you go.
In order to get people excited to come out here and help out with the trash pickup, what I wanted to do is kind of a little reward for especially the kids that came out, was to have something for them to do. And I arranged to have the Ben Avery shooting facility bring their air gun trailer out here. It's basically a little target range set up inside a trailer that they have to take to events like this. So the kids will get some time and some instruction on gun safety and get to do something fun. And Adobe Mountain, our wildlife rehab center, brought a bunch of live animals out here for the folks to check out too. So there's something for them to do while they're eating lunch, and something more fun than picking up trash.
But pick up trash they did. After 2 days, they had filled over 3 industrial-sized dumpsters with tons of trash and more old tires than you can count. All this work was necessary because some folks won't take the time to drive to an authorized landfill.
I guess the only thing I want to add is when the public announcement for this event went out, I got a lot of emails from people around the state saying, I know of a good spot that, you know, we need to tackle and pick up trash. And so it's not a problem that's just locally to my unit. I know it's statewide. And I'd encourage people, it's a lot of work to put one of these little things together. And obviously the state and government agencies don't have lots of money to fork out everywhere in the state, but if there's local groups, one of the groups that's out here today is the Friends of Saddle Mountain, and they're a local group there in Tonopah that are environmentally concerned, and you know, it's little groups like that that get together, organize a little cleanup on a smaller scale that gets a lot of this stuff picked up.
That just goes to show you that when people work together, they can accomplish a great deal. Speaking of working together, the Maricopa County Park System is now an active partner with the Arizona Game and Fish Department in an effort to preserve some endangered native species.
McDowell Mountain Regional Park is one of the jewels in the Maricopa County Regional Park System. With its fabulous views of four peaks and rich desert flora, it's a wonderful place to visit, or to live. This pond in the park is about to become home for some very special and endangered little fish.
The Gila top minnow used to be the most common fish in the lower deserts of Arizona, but now are reduced to about 14 populations in the wild and about a few dozen reestablished populations. Desert pupfish were lost from the wild in the 1950s, and what few populations we do have left in Arizona either reside in captive refugium sites or reestablished populations in the wild.
What allows these endangered fish to be placed in this particular pond is the Safe Harbor Agreement, and this is the first time the Arizona Game and Fish Department has been able to reestablish an endangered species in a regional park. The agreement allows non-federal landowners to participate in conservation and recovery efforts of these endangered species by providing habitat for establishing new populations.
We're able to do this really because of the Safe Harbor Agreement, and anytime you're dealing with endangered species and introducing them, there's a concern from the land manager of what the requirements are for the land manager in the future. And the Safe Harbor Agreement allows us to do this, gives us the latitude if we need to change the direction of the park, modify the pond in any way, or eliminate the pond, then we have a way to do that through the Safe Harbor Agreement.
To stock this pond, more than 100 top minnow were brought in from the Cottonwood Spring lineage from southern Arizona, and about the same amount of pupfish came from the Phoenix Zoo. They were transported in coolers with aerators to make sure the fish have enough oxygen. Once on site, the biologists temper the water in the coolers by slowly changing it out with water from the pond. This allows the fish to gradually adapt to their new surroundings before they're actually released. The process can take some time, but it's worth it to reduce the risk of the fish going into shock. After about an hour of transferring the new water in and the old water out, while also checking the temperature and pH levels, the fish are ready to be released, one small bucket at a time.
These ponds provide a good opportunity for us to work with private and non-federal landowners, folks that normally wouldn't be able to participate in recovery actions directly. But now, through these agreements, they have certain guarantees on land management use and are able to provide new and secure habitat, safe harbors for these fishes.
Finding a suitable pond like this in the Sonoran Desert isn't easy. This pond, the Pemberton Pond, has an interesting history all its own.
We're here in McDowell Mountain Regional Park. It's a county park, one of the 10 regional parks operated by Maricopa County. And this particular site is the original homestead of the Pemberton Ranch, which was established in 1917 and operated the Pemberton Ranch from 1917 until 1935, sold it, and then became the P Bar Ranch. And this area was grazed up until the mid-90s, but during its heyday, which was up until the mid-50s, cattle would be driven down from northern Arizona and would stop here before they reached the markets in Phoenix, and would put on some weight that they lost during the cattle drive. And the Pemberton Ranch charged them $1 a head and a penny a pound. And so they would stop here and graze for a month or so, several weeks. And then they'd be driven on down to the area that is now known as the Stockyards at 40th Street and Washington in Phoenix.
This pond, which is fed by an old well that had been dug on the property, is one of the few physical signs that a ranch was once here. Now it takes on new significance as one of the few homes of Gila top minnow and desert pupfish.
Well, we love the idea of having endangered species introduced to our ponds. We think it's a real win-win situation. We've always been concerned about West Nile virus and mosquitoes using these ponds for spawning grounds. But by having the pupfish and top minnow in, they eliminate that problem. It is an opportunity for us to assist the reestablishment of large populations of those endangered species here in Arizona. And so it helps us, helps Arizona Game and Fish, and we think it's a win-win partnership between the two of us.
Once this new population is established, it will provide an additional source of these fishes for future translocations to other sites, thereby expanding the species range.
Top minnow and pupfish are really good neighbors. They provide a vector control, so they help control mosquitoes and reduce our risk with West Nile virus. For the first 2 years, we hope to establish a couple ponds, such as this, Pemberton Pond, that are large sites that are going to be able to produce lots of fish. And then in turn, those sites are going to be able to be sources for fish for future stockings.
Today, the Arizona Wildlife Viewing Guide takes us to a special place up in the White Mountains where you can look at some of Arizona's grandest animals. Arizona wildlife watchers know the Grand Canyon State has a wide variety of wildlife viewing opportunities. For example, why would you travel all the way to the Rocky Mountains to hear elk bugling in autumn when you can get the same experience here in the White Mountains of eastern Arizona? In fact, this part of the state is full of hidden wildlife treasures if you just know where to look.
We're on the shore of White Mountain Reservoir, and you can see the White Mountains behind us that kind of go up in elevation to the south to Mount Baldy, one of the highest points in Arizona actually. This reservoir is located just a few miles south of Highway 260 and just north of the Big Lake Road, which runs from Sunrise over to Big Lake and Crescent Lake. Kind of a neat little hidden spot. Wildlife viewing opportunities abound in Arizona due to primarily the differing habitats that we have in this state, from the very low desert country that goes in differing levels, life zones if you will, up to the higher levels that we're in right now in the White Mountains. On any given day you can find quite a few elk that would be easily seen along any of these meadows and tree lines. Elk and mule deer in this country like a type of habitat that's called an edge habitat. So if you're out driving or hiking in the White Mountains, what you'd want to look for are tree lines, and look very closely along those tree lines to see if you can see any of these larger animals that like to feed out in the open or move back into the trees for cover. If you want to find wildlife, these larger mammals that you can easily see in this type of terrain, what you want to do primarily is figure out when these animals are most active. And that's going to be right at dawn or right at dusk. These animals are most active and out feeding as the sun is either coming up or it's going down. Now, if you're like me, vision at my age is a little bit more difficult, so I need a little bit of extra help. So a very good set of binoculars or even a spotting scope is a very good idea to bring along. Any decent brand of binoculars will work. You can also get into some very pricey optics, but I like to pick up animals at a distance with binoculars, and then I also like to carry a spotting scope that I can easily put up and observe these animals from a distance. And that's important, to be able to see these animals and enjoy them, but at the same time don't get so close to intrude on their behavior and their feeding habits. I don't want to disturb these animals. I want to watch them from a distance. That's ethical and responsible wildlife viewing. And as I sit at a distance and watch them, I can also see that the different characteristics or interactions that these animals may have with one another. It's easy to see a calf elk in the summer months here that's frisky and jumping and bounding and playing with the other calves. And I can get that easily with some good optics from a distance. You really can't get that up close. To help with your wildlife viewing opportunities and where to go, how to find animals, there are several different types of references and products that the department has developed over the last several years. For the White Mountains area here, we developed a White Mountains Wildlife Trails map that describes several driving routes, driving loops, and hiking trails, and some of them are in this area right here that we're in right now. And then we recently developed a birding checklist for our 4 heritage wildlife areas located in this part of the state in eastern Arizona. And this product would be an excellent product for birders. It has a pretty complete checklist of the different bird species that you may find at one of these wildlife areas on a particular visit. And that's available also at most of our department offices. And if you can't find it anywhere in the area that you live, all you have to do is contact me in the Pine Top office, and I'll be happy to get you the copies that you need, or even discuss any type of wildlife viewing that you're interested in. If you were to come here in the fall, you may not be able to hear me speak because of the ruckus from waterfowl and geese. There'd be several thousand of them on the water behind me. It's very spectacular, very colorful. This is just a really neat little place to swing off to. It's not far from pavement, only a couple miles, and you can get here by a regular sedan. You don't need any special type of vehicle or four-wheel drive or high clearance. If you come here in late September and early October, the slopes behind me of the White Mountains that go up to Mount Baldy here, the aspens would be changing to their yellows and golds and some reds, just very brilliantly colored. It's a very spectacular place to visit and enjoy. And you can sit here for probably literally hours with a good set of binoculars and a spotting scope, just listening to the waterfowl. If you got here early enough, you'd see the antelope moving around in the meadows, some of the elk moving into the shelter of the tree line to lay up for the day. Probably even hear quite a few bull elk bugling. If you've never heard a bull elk in the wild, it's one of the most magnificent sounds in nature. Very, very majestic. And you can experience all of that just by standing in this very spot someday in October.
High-strung, elegant, and beautiful. These words all describe the aristocrat of the sporting dog world, the Irish setter.
Well, I've had setters all my life, and I won't tell you how many years. They're just a wonderful family dog. They're a great hunting dog. They're bred to hunt. And we really have started doing much more hunting now. Originally, they were the gentleman's dog back east. It started pretty much in New England way back when. And they started hunting back there. They're a family dog. They love children. They're just wonderful. They're beautiful. They love to show. And there are 2 strains. The field bred do more hunting, and that's the Llewellyn. And then you have the Laverick, which is more the conformation and show dogs. And they're very prevalent all over the country. Now they're starting to do a lot of hunting on the West Coast, in California, and actually all over. Pheasant, I know, and quail, and mainly just a bird dog. We've pretty much shown all over the country. We've had top winning dogs, and just keep right on going. What got me, I went to see someone who had English setters, and I walked into their home and I walked into their room with the pictures and the ribbons, and it just hit me. It just grows from there. You just love them.
And that's our show for this evening. If you have questions about anything you saw on the show, go to our website at azgfd.gov. On behalf of producers Carol Lind and Gary Schaefer, I'm your host, Jim Harkin. We'll see you next time.